Good evening. Once again, you are welcome back to our physics class. Today, we shall be comparing the precision in the reading of both the meter rule, the vernier caliper, and the micrometer screw gauge. All right, let's move on. This is a meter rule on the board, and from what we have seen on the board, the between 0 centimeter to 1 centimeter, there are 10 lines. Check that up in the meter rule you have at home. Now, since there are 10 lines on a meter rule, it means that these 10 lines is equal to 1 centimeter. Now, we want to know what one line is. What one line is. Then we say one line is equal to x centimeter. So we cross and multiply. When we cross and multiply, we have that 10x is equal to 1, so that x is equal to 1 divided by 10, which is equal to what? When I cancel, I shift, and that is 0.1. So it means that one line on a meter rule is equivalent to 0.1 centimeter. Now, we want to relate or compare this 0.1 centimeter and convert it to millimeter. In converting it to millimeter, remember that we have been taught that 10 millimeter is equivalent to 1 centimeter. So that what will be this value of 0.1 centimeter? 0.1 centimeter will be x millimeter. That is, you don't know. When you still cross multiply, you have that x times 1 is x equal to 0.1 times 10. You'll be shifting to the right where you have 1 millimeter. That is to say that one line on a meter rule is equal to 1 millimeter, which is converted to 0.1 centimeter. Therefore, we just concluded that if we put it well, we see that one line on a meter rule, that one line is 0.1 centimeter, and this 0.1 centimeter is equivalent to 1 millimeter. Now, how do we get that on a vernier caliper? Remember what we said in our last video. A vernier caliper measures object with smaller dimension compared to that measured with a meter rule. A meter rule can measure the height of this board, but vernier caliper can only be used to measure the thickness of the board, which is just the thickness. Meter rule can measure the height of the marker. Meter rule can, vernier caliper can measure the thickness. I will tell us how to do that in our next video. So to get the reading accuracy of a vernier caliper, we have that we divide this by 10 since it measures smaller dimension than this. So each of the readings here are divided by 10. And when we divide 0.1 by 10, we remember that when 0 cancels, we shift this. As we are dividing, we shift to the left. When we are multiplying, we shift to the right. And this will give us, I fix my decimal point, put a 0. This will give me 0.0 centimeter, 0.01 centimeter. And also, when I divide 1 millimeter by 10, using the same manner, I will have 0.1 millimeter. If I do the same thing for a micrometer screw gauge, I'm going to have that for a micrometer screw gauge. When I divide this by 10, I will shift also, and I will obtain 0.001 centimeter. And when I also divide this by 10, I will obtain 0.01 millimeter. Now, if we are comparing this, you see that the reading on a vernier caliper is more precise to the nearest 0.1 millimeter. Why? Because on a meter rule, it will round it up to the nearest whole number. while this one is going to leave it to the nearest 0.1 centimeter. With this, you see that the readings here will be more precise than the one obtained here, making the reading on a vernier caliper more precise than the reading on a meter rule.